Christmas parade?
Actually, it's after that. They've got the week of, let's see, what does it say?
I don't know. when
They've
they
got it
plan on
in here.
bringing the carriages to town this
I
year.
It's
don't
usually
either.
the second Saturday,
They've-
or second weekend of.
December
5th through the 11th. So it's gonna be real close to that same time. So, and that actually might work out, have more people in town to try it.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'd love to see you on a pair of skates.
No, I have my reservation, and I'll only go through this if you're the first one out there.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well, I'll try it. Never
Have you
ice skated in my
have
life.
you never
but-
ice skated,
No,
Sergio?
I've never.
It's easier than roller skating.
You have insurance, right?
That's rollerblade.
We'll be all right.
I'll try it. If you'll
Any
pick
other-
me up.
Any other comments, discussion, motion?
I make a motion that we approve the $10,998 for the ice skating rink for the 2021 winter season.
I have a motion and a second.
Setzer?
Aye.
Swager?
Aye.
Alvedras? Peterson?
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes.
Agenda item number 14 is discussion and action to authorize the removal of Charlene Well and the addition of Tanya Mendoza to the depository bank accounts for the City of Guymon Municipal Court.
This is a carryover from our meeting last month. We inadvertently left a couple of names off the removal list that we asked you to vote to remove, and we're asking you to remove those people at this time.
Just housekeeping.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a motion?
Make a motion to authorize the removal of Charlene Whale and addition of Tanya Mendoza to the depository bank account for the City of Guymon Municipal Court.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Swager?
Aye.
Setzer?
Aye.
Alvedras? Peterson?
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes.
Agenda item number 15 is presentation and discussion of priorities developed by the Police Station Task Force. Commentaries attached. Mr. Schweiger, you were chairman of that one.
Yes.
You want to enlighten us?
Well, we've had the opportunity to go tour the existing police station, and it is in need of repair, or actually replacement in reality. But we, Captain did drop some plans, rough plans of what they wanted. We have forwarded those to Hornback and Black for discussions. We've also asked them to give us a rough estimate what it would cost to remodel the existing building, and also what it would cost for a new police station. And actually, that's where we're at right now. We're waiting for them to get back to us and to see which way we need to go, and then we've got to figure out funding. But I'd really like to see a new one get built, to be honest with you. So, and hopefully we can get that done. It may be next year before we even get started, or maybe 2 years, but I hope within that 2-year period, we actually are building one.
Well, and I was on that committee, and one of the major things with the existing police station is it was built, of course, it used to be an Army Reserve Center, and the federal government likes to overbuild everything. And it's got a heating and air conditioning system in it that's been on the brink for how many years, Chief? Last 7 years. So it's, I think some of the estimates we've got just for the heat and air is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or to me, it's ridiculous. Not pushing anything on any heat and air guys. But I think it's a priority that we need to consider going forward with and seeing what we can do.
I agree, because, if you want to go visit them in the next 2 days when it's going to be 100 plus. That's right. So you might appreciate them just a tad more than we do, and realize just what type of work environment they are working in right now, which I think needs an improvement.
What's the thoughts on centralizing it better for the community, or putting it on, for example, highway?
Well, we have discussed a possibility of putting it on the highway. There's actually 3 or 4 different locations we are studying right now that, and actually, I think, Mr. Dunham, I think you've approached a couple of people on property.
Yes, sir, I have. And we are still working in discussions with them on properties.
Sergio, I think one of the things that one of our points of discussion was that by building a new and moving it, where it's at right now, anytime that our police have to respond to a code 3 call or an emergency call, they've got to travel through residential areas. There's no other way to get there rather than not down on the highway or a major thoroughfare. So it's also a safety recommendation too, I think.
I'd love to see it. Thank you guys, good job on the task
Thank you.
Mr. Arndt, would you like to add anything? You think we covered it? Come on. Okay. All right. Is anything else? Anything else, Larry?
No,
Mr. Flagel?
wish it was building.
Well, it'll get there. Okay, anything else on, any questions? Anything on that? Agenda item number 16 is presentation and discussion of the priorities developed by the Water System Task Force. I chaired that, and, gosh, who was on the, were you on that? I forgot.
No,
Sean was, I think.
Yeah.
But,
Sean left you.
yeah, so anyway, we had, or no, but anyway, we had some very good informative meetings. We had two of the gentlemen from the water department that were actively involved. And part of what we talked about and pretty well itemized as priorities, have already put in place, and that is, one, we've got to do something about our ability to read and collect revenues from our meters. Our existing software and hardware is out of date. It's not being serviced anymore, and so we have discussed and decided to go for an automatic meter reading system for both gas and water. This gives us a lot of, if we can get the AMI, it gives our water folks a lot of tools to see what our usage is. If we do the AMI, we can almost see it on a minute-by-minute basis. But it's just part of going into the 21st century, I guess, is another way. So we have already gone forward with that. We approved funding, going out for funding next Tuesday, unless the shoe drops for some reason. We will be approved for our funding through the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. We're borrowing $5 million to do this project. The next stage, the next project, and some of the things we talked about were that we need to start developing sources for more water, because water is one of those things that we're going to run out of someday, or we get into, like now, we're going into the heat of the summer, so we've got to do some conservation or whatever. But also it'd be better if we had a better long-term source for water, not for just a year, but for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So we're looking at, we've identified possibly our needs. We're looking at some opportunities. Kind of slow to develop, but hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, we'll have maybe a better handle on that, I hope. And the third priority is we need to probably put in another 1 million+ gallons of water storage capability, so that whenever we're not when we're not using a lot of water, we have more places to store water and have a reserve in case we need it, if we have a major fire or anything like that happen, or if we had some wells go down. And those were our 3 priorities we talked about. I don't think we had too much more than that, did we, Joe Don?
Only thing I'd add to it would be the infrastructure improvements. We felt that was an important thing to start working toward. That's one of those problems that is kind of like streets. We'll never get finished working on those.
Right.
There's always some infrastructure, water lines, gas lines, things that need to be improved, updated.
So that's basically what we talked about in the Water Task Force, and again, we're moving forward with the automatic meter reading, and hopefully we'll get bids back. and be
Well,
able to
I
get
was
that
just
done.
gonna say, I'm gonna skip part of my report, and just tell you that, we will be opening bids on that AMR project on the 29th at 2 o'clock of this month. We'll then evaluate those bids, and, our intent is to have a recommendation before the city council for approval at the July meeting. And that would pretty much allow a contractor to get started in August.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, discussion? Agenda item number 17 is presentation and discussion of priorities developed by the Street Rehabilitation Task Force. I think, Sergio, you're the guy.
Yes, I inherited the chair position for this task force. And it's pretty common sense. We have neglected our street infrastructure for so long. I serve on this task force with street supervisor, Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Bowers. Mr. Stetzer has come on also, and Mr. Dunham, which is a part of every task force that we have. And I'm a big believer in this task force, and I hope we can do all the projects, but obviously we're gonna have to sit down and prioritize what's needed to be done. But streets, they rate right up there with we were talking earlier on an agenda item. To do the streets properly, we need to get them, not so much engineered, but just get a proper procedure down. And I think if we give the city the opportunity to come up with its own equipment, we have the money to buy our own equipment, and not only would we be able to expand our workforce and our specialties, but at the same time, we can give our citizens a better quality of life with driving on better streets. We've all been there. We've all seen the memes. Every time somebody crosses from Texas or Kansas into Oklahoma, it's pretty rough. And I mean that doesn't stop because just because we're inside the city limits. There was a street study done, and I've evaluated the streets, and hopefully doing what's recommended by the street task force, and the priority, is street repair, and doing it as best we can, then we can move forward and give ourselves the ability to self-sustain, and while improving our workforce and giving our staff the proper tools and management to, and I think the whole city, everybody would benefit from it. And that would be the task force recommendation, and of course, we need to prioritize what needs to be done. And, steps, Mr. Jester, Hernandez, or Bowers, or Dano, if you guys have anything to add, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't eliminate another situation where we're shopping it out to somebody else, do it in-house. You're right, it's a no-brainer.
I think if we have the ability there to build our workforce too. And then I know that the prime season for doing street repairs is probably when the sun or less, so, and during those other times, we can be working on something else with street equipment that gets purchased, getting it ready for the summer to work on.
I think the only thing that I can see is manpower. Right, where do we find the manpower that,
That's the expansion of the workforce.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I hope so.
That's our goal, is to give management the tools and to give them the availability to go in and grab some more people for the big workforce, and we can hopefully we can retain it, and we can make our
Anything else? Anybody have anything else to add? Okay, and we already had pretty much a report from the golf board task force several meetings ago. And,
We haven't, I mean, if you want me to touch on that, I can, but it's not on here.
we better not, since it's not on the agenda. Don't want to get,
We pretty much had their presentation at the last meeting, this reason they're not on the agenda.
Yeah.
okay? All right. And I want to thank, also I'd like to thank all the staff and council for the time and effort that was put into to meeting on these deals. It seemed like there for a while we were meeting every other day. It wasn't quite that often, but it seemed like it. But thank you, gentlemen and ladies and everybody for your time. Diane, thank you for your time, being there to keep the minutes.
See,
And-
your job is the most important, yours and the bone, keeping track of those and turning us around. Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 18 is discussion and possible action on the City of Guymon operational goals for 1 year, 2 years, and 4 years. And one of the points, and I kind of started this thought process of doing this, this is a goal that we're going to sit down and, as a council, the 5 councilmen, we're going to have some work sessions and meetings and whatever, some independent time to think and write down goals, to come up with what would we like, what being an elected official, what have the citizens told us they'd like to see done? What do we prioritize? What do we need to be it done? And we want to base this on a 1 year plan, and then the 2 and 4 years is due to the fact that our terms on the city council are based on 4 years, but they're broken up in alternating periods, so the 2 and 4 years. Part of the reason behind this is twofold. One, it gives us an opportunity to share with the city manager and the rest of the staff what we really would like to do. What are you able to do? This is what we'd like to do. Then we'll get the input back from those folks. But also, as we go forward, this will also give us a very good way to evaluate what we're doing as a city council, but also what our city manager is doing in his job, and the rest of the staff. So we can see, are we working towards the end goals we've all set, or a group of us have set. And it'll get expanded as we go forward. It's not going to be, we're probably not going to spend a lot of time talking about it tonight. This is more information to get it out to everybody, and since Geraldine isn't here, that I'm going to request everybody to take your notepad when you get home and start writing out a list. You may already have the list.
I did.
You want to talk about it? If you want to talk about it,
No,
we can talk about it.
we can wait, you know. I'd like to see us all have our goals kind of set, then meet and discuss them actually.
And we may,
Kind of a give and take.
and we may decide to have a special meeting, just have a work session some night or someday.
Yeah.
If that would work with everyone.
Right. I mean, a lot of the citizens I've reached out to, they're focused on us focusing on what we're already focusing on with the task force, you know, the infrastructure, certain things like that. I mean, of course, everybody would like to see more amenities, but roads are our number one issue in you ask anybody out there. And, you know, I'm glad to see that we're focused on that already.
So I think it's a good starting point for us as a council to set our goals and then go forward with them and really kind of fine tune it. And it's not what we're talking about doing is not set in concrete by any means. It can be changed as we see fit and as need be. So that's kind of the charge, I guess, is start thinking about 1, 2, and 4 year plans. And as citizens or staff, if you have some concerns or ideas or a desire, feel free to call us and let us know what you would like to see us do. What's your priority? Because we're here to serve the citizens, make Guymon a better place, and we can only do that if we all work together. So that's all I've got to say. Anybody got anything else they want to add?
Amen.
I'm good.
You got a list, but you want to save it?
I'll
Have
save
a
it.
secret.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep adding to my list.
Go Don, you got anything you want to add?
All I'd like to really add is one of the things, by setting these goals and these objectives, It's really gonna help staff in preparations of budgets, especially if we so we get past one just next year. And it'll also let us know as staff, that we're working on the things that the city council and the citizens think we need to be working on, and not out spinning our wheels on something that's really not a priority, and putting a lot of time in things that are not really a priority. Yes, streets are going to be a priority. Water and gas lines are going to be a priority. And the only thing I'm gonna say about those is that that'll never end. I mean, when we can have everything looking just great, but it's gonna be time, once that happens, it's gonna be time to start over. And that's gonna happen with both our water and our gas lines, and our infrastructure, our streets, our buildings, everything. And so I guess one of the things I'm gonna hope to gain out of this is what is our vision for the city? What do we want? What do we want it to look like in all areas? It's not just streets. It's not just infrastructure. There are a lot of things out there that we need to be working toward. And I've got my ideas, and I'll certainly bring those to the table. But ultimately, it's, you know, it's your guidance that I'm looking for. And I think the staff is looking for.
Okay. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll stand adjourned as the Guymon City Council, and we will reconvene as the Guymon Utilities Authority. So I'll call that meeting to order.